The correct dose. The migraines always started the same way. A faint shimmer at the edge of my vision, like heat rising off asphalt. Then the shimmer brightened, widened, stretched across my field of view. By the time the pulsing ache began behind my left eye, I knew the next 6 hours of my life were already decided. But lately, the migraines had changed. They didn't arrive like storms anymore, sudden and brutal. They announced themselves, slow and deliberate, like something knocking from inside my skull, asking to be let in. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and feel a pressure behind my eyes before the pain even came. A pressure that seemed aware of me. Mom said it was all toxicity. "You're 16, Maya. Your hormones are chaotic, your diet is unstable, and your brain is screaming for help. That's all this is." She said it like she knew my brain personally, like they were on a first-name basis. And in our house, anything that went wrong, dry skin, headaches, dizziness, short temper, bad dreams, was always explained the same way. "You're not detoxing properly." That was why we had the cabinet. The cabinet wasn't just a piece of furniture. It was an entire section of the dining room wall, a tall, old pine monstrosity with doors that creaked like movie sound effects. When we first moved into the house, it held extra plates and linens. Now it held something else entirely. Bottles. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Maybe glass amber bottles with labels half peeled from age. Jars of powders the color of bone, moss, chalk, rust. Plastic containers bought from websites I'd never heard of. Natural Roots, Mother Nature RX, Holist Corp, Healing Essence Pure. Brands that didn't seem to exist outside her internet rabbit holes. If you opened the doors too quickly, a smell hit you. Sharp and herbal, like someone crushed a forest floor into a fine dust and trapped it in the air. Sage, ginger, turmeric, vinegar, fish oil, iron, magnesium. Thick and sour and metallic. The cabinet groaned under the weight of everything inside. It felt alive. Sometimes I thought it was. Mom kept the doors closed during the day and locked them at night. But lately, I'd noticed the doors sitting slightly ajar in the mornings, just an inch, barely noticeable, like something had pushed from the inside. I never mentioned it. Some things were easier to pretend you didn't see. Every morning before school, Mom lined up my protocol on the kitchen counter. She didn't call them pills or supplements or vitamins. She called them protocols, as if she were running a lab experiment and I was the test subject that morning. The line of pills stretched longer than usual. 3 fat magnesium capsules, 2 little B2 tablets, a fish oil soft gel the size of my thumb, a scoop of some powder that turned water the color of rotting leaves, a tincture labeled Nervin Restore in Sharpie, and something new, a small white bottle with no label at all. I felt a migraine starting already, the shimmer creeping into my peripheral vision. The sight of the pills made the nausea worse. "Mom, that's too much," I said, gripping the counter to steady myself. "This is triple what I'm supposed to take." "You're not supposed to take the bare minimum, sweetheart. Doctors want to keep you sick so you buy their prescriptions forever." She said it gently, almost confused that I didn't already agree. I'm trying to fix the root of the problem. I picked up the magnesium bottle. 700 milligrams a day is dangerous. I looked it up. Mom's jaw tightened, almost imperceptibly. ChatGPT says, "Mom," I cut in, "you sent me the article. It told me to take 850 milligrams. That's insane, and it didn't even cite anything I checked." "You think you know more than AI?" she asked, tilting her head like I'd said something childish. I swallowed a wave of frustration. "I think AI isn't perfect." Her eyes sharpened. "I think your attitude is blocking your healing. That bitterness in you? It must be cleansed. Negativity makes toxins worse." I opened my mouth, then closed it. There was no point arguing. Not when her voice took on that reverent tone, the one she used when speaking about natural healing, like she was talking about a religion. Instead, I swallowed only half the pills she'd set out and tucked the rest under the napkin beside my bowl. Later, I flushed them down the bathroom sink. It wasn't rebellion. It was survival. The migraine worsened through the school day. In third period, words on the board swam into blurred, smudged shapes. By fifth period, my left eye throbbed every time someone spoke too loudly. At lunch, my friend Jordan waved a hand in front of my face. "You good?" "Just a headache," I lied. "You look like you're about to pass out." "I'm fine." But I wasn't. I could feel the pressure digging deeper, like something inside my skull was pushing against bone from the wrong side. Like a fist trying to punch its way out, I took slow breaths, in and out. The pain pulsed in rhythm. 1, 2, 3, almost like knocking. I didn't tell anyone about that part. When I got home, the house was quiet. Too quiet. Mom was usually in the kitchen at this time, humming, grinding herbs, reading printed AI articles with a highlighter between her teeth. Instead, she was standing in front of the cabinet. The doors were wide open. The overhead lights made the glass bottles gleam like rows of eyes. Mom didn't turn when I walked in. She just said, "You flush the pills." My stomach dropped. "What?" "You flushed them. I can always tell." Her voice was soft. That was worse than yelling. "I took enough," I said. "I swear." "You took what you think you need," she murmured, still facing the shelves. "Not what your body asked for." She lifted a bottle reverently, like selecting a book from a sacred library. "I'm not doing this out of disrespect," I whispered. Finally, she turned. Her face was calm. Too calm, a kind of blankness behind the eyes that made my skin prickle. "Sweetheart," she said, "you don't understand what's happening to you, but I do. The body speaks. Symptoms are messages. Pain is instruction. And your pain?" She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Your pain is telling me exactly what to do." The room felt colder. The migraine pulsed, harder this time. Double beats. Knock, knock. Knock, knock. "You're scaring me," I said before I could stop myself. Mom smiled. "That's because healing hurts." That night, I woke up suddenly, heart pounding. The migraine had settled into a heavy thrum, like bass vibrating through a wall. The room was dark, but the hallway light was on. Mom always left it off at night. I swung my legs over the bed and stepped into the hallway. The cabinet doors were open, wide open. A soft rattling came from inside, like bottles shifting, like something moving past them. "Mom?" I whispered. No answer. I took one step closer, then another. The hallway floor creaked. The rattling stopped instantly, like it had been listening. I leaned forward just slightly. The hallway light flicked off. Darkness swallowed everything. A cold rush of terror surged up my spine. I stumbled backward, slamming into my bedroom doorframe. I fumbled for the light switch inside my room, flipped it on. The light washed over my bed, my dresser, the floor, and the binder. It was sitting in the middle of my bed. Mom's thick black binder where she logged every supplement dose, every reaction, every note about my toxicity levels. I hadn't left it there. My hand shook as I approached it. The binder was open to a page dated today. Her handwriting, small and controlled, filled the lines. She'd logged my doses, my symptoms, my complaints, but at the bottom, something new. Migraine shows responsiveness. Compliance improving. Cabinet active. My breath hitched. I stepped back. The cabinet doors creaked, slowly, in the dark hallway, like something was leaning out, listening, waiting. Mom's voice drifted from down the hall, soft and sing-song. "Maya? Honey? You awake?" I froze. Her silhouette filled the doorway, blocking the hall light with her body. "I heard movement," she said calmly. "Is your headache worsening?" I nodded wordlessly. She stepped into my room, her shadow stretching long behind her. "Good," she whispered. "That means the detox is starting to work." She placed a hand on my face, too cold, too gentle, and smiled. "Everything is happening exactly as it should." The migraine pulsed again. This time it didn't feel like knocking. It felt like something turning its attention toward me. The dread grows. The mother becomes more controlling. The migraine becomes aware. The neurologist's office always smelled like lemon disinfectant and cold paper sheets, the kind of place where everything is clean, but nothing feels safe. I sat on the exam table, my feet dangling, trying not to squint at the fluorescent lights. They flickered just enough to make the migraine hum louder behind my eye. Mom sat in the chair beside me with her arms crossed tightly, the big black binder balanced on her lap. She'd brought it to show the doctor your patterns, which already made my stomach twist. Last time she brought the binder to a doctor, she left convinced they were all incompetent. The door clicked open. "Hi, Maya," Dr. Halbrook said warmly as she walked in. "Hi, Mrs. Raines." Mom smiled back with that tight smile she used when she was preparing to argue. "Thank you for seeing us on short notice," she said. "Her migraines have been intense lately, and her detox protocols need to be adjusted." The doctor blinked. "Detox? Protocols?" Mom stood and handed her the binder like it was an ancient text that would reveal the mysteries of human biology. "Her symptoms are clearly tied to inflammation, toxicity, and nervous system overload. I've been tracking it all." Dr. Halbrook flipped through it, her eyebrows rising as she skimmed the pages. "Mrs. Raines, this is very detailed." "It's necessary," Mom said. The doctor closed the binder gently. "Let's start simple. Maya, how often are your migraines happening now?" "Almost every day," I said quietly. "Sometimes twice." "And how severe?" "Usually bad. Sometimes bad." "Any nausea? Vision issues?" "Yeah." "Dizziness?" "Yeah." "Any hallucinations?" I hesitated. Mom stepped forward. "No hallucinations, just typical migraine aura. She exaggerates her symptoms." My cheeks heated. I hadn't exaggerated anything. The doctor looked at me carefully. "You hesitated, Maya." I swallowed. "Sometimes I hear things, or see things that aren't there. But maybe it's the pain or the pills." Mom's voice sharpened. "The natural supplements don't cause hallucinations." Dr. Halbrook turned her attention to her. "What exactly is she taking?" Mom brightened, pulling a sheet from the binder. "I've documented everything. Magnesium, 700 milligrams daily, plus..." The doctor raised a hand. "Hold on, 700? Mom nodded proudly. "ChatGPT recommended..." "It did not recommend that," I muttered. "It didn't cite anything. It was just making stuff up." Mom shot me a glare sharp enough to cut glass. "You do not know how to interpret data." The doctor stepped between us slightly, directing her focus back to me. "Maya," she said, voice calm, "how much magnesium were you taking before your mom increased the dosage?" "Like 200 milligrams, I said. "I felt better. Not great, just normal." "And now?" "Now I feel dizzy all the time. The migraines feel different, like heavier." Mom scoffed. "Of course she feels dizzy. Her body is releasing toxins as it heals." Dr. Halbrook's mouth tightened. "Mrs. Raines, please, magnesium overdose can absolutely cause dizziness, nausea, and neurological disturbances." Mom stiffened. "I know what I'm doing. I've studied natural medicine for years." "With respect," the doctor said gently, "you've given her nearly double the safe upper limit for magnesium supplementation." Mom's jaw worked, clenching and unclenching. "But ChatGPT? ChatGPT is not a doctor," the neurologist said. "And even if AI suggests it is not a replacement for vetted medical guidance, Maya should have no more than 350 milligrams per day." The migraine pulsed. Hard. Mom's face changed. Cold. Shiny in the eyes. Like something oily slid beneath her skin. I didn't think. I just turned toward her and whispered, "I told you so." It slipped out, barely a sound, almost playful. Her expression didn't move, not at all, but something behind it shifted, like a door quietly shutting. On the ride home, the car was silent. I watched the trees smear past the window, the sunlight strobing through branches in a way that made the migraine pulse harder. Mom's hands gripped the steering wheel too tight, knuckles white and bloodless. Her jaw was locked, her breathing shallow. I tried to break the silence. "Mom?" Nothing. I tried again. "Mom, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to embarrass you." Still nothing. The absence of sound pressed against my ears, thick as fog. My migraine hummed harder, almost expectant. Then, as we slowed at a red light, she finally spoke. "You don't trust me." It wasn't a question I swallowed. "I'm trying to, You think the doctor knows your body better than I do," she continued softly. "You think strangers understand you better than your own mother. That's not true." She stared straight ahead, eyes cold in the glow of the red traffic light. "I raised you. I kept you alive. I know every cell of you, every flaw, every weakness." The light turned green. She didn't move. Cars behind us honked. She didn't even blink. I reached out and touched her arm lightly. "Mom, the light." She inhaled sharply, like I'd snapped her out of some trance, and lurched forward. The rest of the drive, she didn't speak again. But her silence felt heavy, calculated, punishing. When we got home, she went straight to the cabinet. She unlocked it carefully, reverently, like opening a vault. I hovered near the hallway, unsure whether to speak. She pulled out bottle after bottle, never looking at me. The migraine flared with each dull thud of glass on wood. "Mom?" My voice cracked. She kept sorting bottles, one pile on the left, one on the right. "Mom, please talk to me." She stopped suddenly, her back to me, shoulders rigid, still holding a bottle. Then, softly, she said, "I only wanted you to get better. I know. But you humiliated me in front of the doctor. I wasn't trying to. You told me I was wrong." Her voice trembled. "She said you should take less magnesium. You said it too. You both think you know what's best for you. You don't." "I just want to feel normal again," I whispered. She turned then, slowly. Her eyes looked wrong, glassy, shiny, like they reflected too much light. "You will," she said, "as long as you listen to me." She placed 3 bottles on the table beside her, then she slid the binder across the table so it stopped at my feet. "I need you to sign your compliance log." My throat closed. "What?" "Your compliance log," she repeated, "so we can track your healing accurately." "I don't think that's necessary." Her smile stretched just a bit wider. "I insist." The migraine throbbed, a wave of pressure crashing behind my skull. The air in the room felt thin, hard to breathe. The cabinet loomed behind her, full of bottles that gleamed like 100 tiny watching eyes. Mom placed a pen on the binder. Then she stepped forward, closing the distance between us. "Honey," she whispered, "if you want to get better, you need to stop resisting." Her voice was soft, too soft, the way people speak to frightened animals or future patients. The migraine pulsed again, once, twice, almost like agreement. That night, I lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling. Sleep wouldn't come, but something else did. A sound, a soft, rhythmic clicking, like glass bottles bumping inside a cabinet. Except the air was still. No one was awake. The clicking grew louder, then stopped, then knock-knock. 2 dull taps from inside the wall behind my bed. My breath caught. Another 2 knocks. My heart hammered against my ribs, too fast, too loud. I sat up slowly. The room was freezing. The binder lay open on my desk. I hadn't opened it. Even from across the room, I could see the page. A new entry had been added, handwriting I didn't recognize. "Compliance improving, resistance fading. Tomorrow begins the adjustment." I stared. My room felt smaller, the air heavier, the walls closer. Then, faintly, from the hallway, the cabinet creaked open, and my mother's voice floated down the hall, soft and lilting. "Maya? Sweetheart? We need to talk about your attitude." A shiver crawled down my spine. The migraine pulsed once more, like it had heard her. The mother grows more controlling. The cabinet grows, aware. No graphic harm. The punishments didn't start with yelling. They started with silence. Mom didn't speak to me the next morning, not when I came downstairs, not when I apologized again, not even when I sat across from her at the breakfast table with my bowl of oatmeal cooling untouched. Her eyes were fixed on her phone, scrolling through articles with titles like Natural Cleansing Protocols, The Medical Industry Hates, Migraine Toxins, Your Doctor is Lying, Magnesium, The Miracle Mineral Big Pharma Keeps You From. Every few minutes she'd tap one, read a paragraph, then highlight something on a printed page beside her. She didn't look up when she said, without emotion, "Your supplement doses will be adjusted today." A chill spread through my chest. Adjusted how? Silence. "You're giving me less, right?" The doctor said. She looked up then, eyes flat. "The doctor does not live in your body, I do." My blood ran cold. I tried to laugh it off. "Mom, you don't live. Every cell you have come from me, every part of you." She resumed, highlighting, "You forget that sometimes." She stood, walked to the cabinet, and unlocked it. I tried not to flinch. The doors creaked open slowly, like something inside was pushing back glass glinted in the light. Mom pulled out a new set of bottles, ones I'd never seen before. Their labels were handwritten. One was in a language I couldn't identify. One held a thick, pearly liquid that moved too slow, like syrup or melted wax. "You'll take these now," she said, placing 3 bottles in front of me. "Mom." "You'll take them," she repeated softly, "if you want to stay in my house." My stomach dropped. That was new. That was terrifying. The migraine pulsed gently behind my eye, like pressure from a thumb, listening, watching. Mom placed a single, unlabeled capsule on the table. It gleamed faintly. "But before that," she said, "I need to check your compliance log." She held out the binder. I didn't take it. Her smile thinned. "Maya." I opened the binder with trembling fingers. She'd added new sections since last night. Columns titled Obedience, Attitude Variability, Resistance Frequency, Purification Events. Then the part that made my breath stop, Behavioral Corrections, Quiet Punishments. None were filled in. Yet. The first quiet punishment came that afternoon. No ibuprofen. When I opened the bathroom cabinet for the little bottle we always kept, it was gone. I checked the hall closet. Gone. Checked Mom's bedroom. Empty. I found her in the kitchen grinding something in a mortar and pestle. "Mom, where's the ibuprofen?" She didn't look up. "Painkillers interfere with your cleansing." "I need it," I whispered. "I can't think." "You don't need it." She crushed the herbs harder. "You need to stop fighting your purification." I backed away slowly. She didn't follow. The second quiet punishment was food. She made dinner but didn't call me down. When I entered the kitchen anyway, she put a hand over her plate protectively, like I was a stray dog she didn't trust. "Oh," she said coolly. "Did you want to join me?" "Yes," I said. "I haven't eaten since breakfast." She let out a thoughtful hum, her fork halfway to her mouth. "I didn't make your portion." My stomach twisted in hunger. "Can I have some of this food?" she said, gesturing to her plate, "is for people who respect the healing process." I stared. "I do respect it." "No, sweetheart." She gave me a pitying look. "You question. You resist. You poison your recovery with negativity." I whispered, "I'm 16. It's normal to question things." She looked genuinely wounded. "I'm your mother. You questioning me is like questioning your own blood." She set her fork down gently, wiping her mouth with a napkin. "Eat fruit if you're hungry or one of your supplements. They're more important than solid meals right now." I didn't move. After a moment, she added softly, "You may go." The dismissal curled like smoke around my ribs. The third quiet punishment was sleep. At 2 a.m, I woke to her standing over me. My heart slammed so hard I choked on the breath I inhaled. She held a small flashlight in one hand and the cabinet's newest bottle in the other. "It's dose time," she whispered, voice soft but firm. I could barely sit up. "Mom, I'm sleeping." "You must be cleansed on schedule. she said gently. If you resist, your symptoms worsen. My tongue felt thick. But the doctor... This is not the doctor's schedule, she murmured, lifting the bottle. This is your body's schedule. I didn't know how she said it so calmly. I didn't know how her smile could look so loving and so terrifying at the same time. She unscrewed the bottle. The smell hit me, metallic and herbal, sharp and wrong. Open, she whispered. I hesitated. Her fingers pinched my chin, not roughly, but firmly, the way you'd hold a stubborn toddler. Open, honey. I opened. She tipped a small drop of the liquid onto my tongue. It burned instantly, not painful, but electric, like peppermint oil that had gone rancid. My head throbbed. She watched me swallow with intense, unblinking focus. Good girl. She stroked my hair. The migraine pulsed. The room swayed. Then she whispered, You'll thank me when you're healed. She left. The hallway light flickered. From somewhere deep in the house, a bottle rattled. I didn't sleep again. By the next afternoon, I was dizzy, nauseous, starving, exhausted, and terrified of my own home. But Mom was cheerful, almost euphoric. She hummed as she cooked herself a fresh lunch, something steaming and savory. I tried to enter the kitchen, but she blocked the doorway without blinking, still smiling. Your digestive tract needs rest, she said sweetly. You'll eat when your system is purified. Mom, she put a finger to her lips. Shaw. The hum continued. After she finished eating, she sat at the table with the binder, carefully filling out a new page titled Punishment Logs, Day 1. Her pen scratched softly. Food restriction, effective painkiller withholding, effective night dose administered, compliance, moderate resistance still observed. She tapped the pen thoughtfully, then added, Cabinet activity increasing. I froze. What does that mean? She glanced up, smiling. You wouldn't understand. Try me. She stood, approaching me slowly. Sometimes when a home is filled with healing energy, the tools of healing respond. My skin crawled. The tools? The supplements. Her voice lowered. The medicine, the bottles, the cabinet. They know when you need more. They respond to your energy. I stared at her. Mom, that's not... She leaned in so close, her breath warmed my cheek. The cabinet sees you resisting. It sees you poisoning your progress. The words sank into my spine like cold water. And when something sees resistance, she whispered, it adapts. I backed away. She watched me with soft, patient eyes, as if I were the irrational one. That evening, while Mom showered, I crept toward the cabinet. The doors were shut but not locked. That alone scared me. She always locked it. My hand trembled as I touched the handle. The wood was warm, not room warm, warm, like something alive was behind. I eased the door open a crack. Inside, the bottles were still, neat rows of glass and plastic and powder. But the air inside was thick, humid, oddly warm. My skin prickled. Something was wrong. Then I noticed it. A single bottle on the top shelf had shifted forward several inches. It hadn't been like that before. I knew it hadn't. I leaned closer. The bottle label had no writing, just a symbol, 3 swirling lines that formed a circle. I reached for it ever so slowly. The door suddenly slammed shut against my fingers. I yelped, jerking back. My heart hammered. From the bathroom down the hall, the shower turned off. I ran to my room before Mom came out. Later, while trying to calm my breathing, I noticed something new taped to my bedroom door. It wasn't there in the afternoon. A piece of white paper, printed text, 1 sentence. Negative behaviors will be corrected for your safety. My stomach dropped. Below the sentence was a small symbol, 3 swirling lines forming a circle, the same symbol from the unmarked bottle, a symbol I had never seen before, a symbol that should not be in my house. The hallway creaked. Mom's voice drifted down the hall, soft and sweet. Maya, are you ready for day 2? The migraine pulsed, sharp and heavy. The walls felt like they were leaning in. I wasn't ready, but she didn't care, and neither did the cabinet. The first time I realized the articles were wrong, it wasn't because of the bad medical advice, it was because one of them knew my name. Mom had always been obsessed with research. Before the migraines got bad, that meant stacks of library books and YouTube videos. Now it meant AI. She didn't call it AI, though. She called it ChatGPT, like it was a person, like a cousin we didn't see often, but trusted with everything. ChatGPT is unbiased, she said once, stirring something foul-smelling on the stove. It isn't corrupted by big companies. It gives pure knowledge, pure truth. It also gave dosage recommendations that could probably kill someone, but that didn't matter to her. She had started printing everything, not just reading on the screen, printing. Whole threads of text, pages and pages in tiny fonts to save ink. She highlighted them, annotated them, filed them in the binder and in a separate folder labeled Treatment Protocols, Maya, AI Approved. The first time I saw my name typed like that, all caps, I felt sick, like my life had become a file on her hard drive. But the day I found the weird article started like any other, with pain. The migraine that morning was a low, constant roar, like a faraway engine that never shut off. It didn't spike, didn't crash. It just hovered there, pressing on the back of my eye like a thumb. I stumbled into the kitchen. Blinking past the brightness of the overhead lights, Mom was already there, in her bathrobe, hunched over the kitchen table. The laptop was open in front of her, the screen's glow reflecting off her glasses. Next to it, the printer. A slow line of paper crept out, spooling a new page. She didn't look up when I walked in. "Morning," I said. No response. I moved closer. On the laptop screen, a chat window scrolled with neatly formatted text. In that bland, friendly tone, all AI outputs seemed to use long paragraphs about holistic detox strategies and titrating magnesium dosages for persistent neurological symptoms. My symptoms. I recognized some of the phrases. She'd read similar stuff to me out loud days before. The printer spat out another page. The header at the top read, Personalized Detox and Migraine Protocol for MAYA. My scalp prickled. "Mom?" I spoke. "Did you type my name in there?" She blinked, like waking from a dream, then smiled faintly. "Of course I did. ChatGPT needs details to tailor the answer. It cares about precision." The printer whirred again. I swallowed. "You used my full name?" "Not all of it," she said, waving a hand. "Just your initials, your condition, your resistance patterns. It needs context." My heart stuttered. What patterns?" She turned back to the screen. "Emotional interference is part of toxicity. I'm giving it the full picture so it can help you." The printer spat out another page. I stared at the lines of text forming as if invisible hands were typing them right onto the paper. For adolescent female subject, MAYA, presenting with chronic migraines, defiance, and distrust of maternal care, increased dosage is recommended. Behavioral resistance is a symptom of internal toxicity. I felt my heart beat in my throat. "Mom," I whispered, That's not how any of this works. It's just predicting generic phrases. It's not diagnosing me." She highlighted the sentence with a bright yellow marker. "I knew it," she murmured. "It confirms what I suspected. Your resistance is part of the illness." "That's not what it's saying. That's—" She clucked her tongue. "Don't argue with me and the AI. You're outnumbered." The printer beeped, signaling the end of the batch. She gathered the warm stack of pages like they were precious. "Finish your protocol," she said, nodding toward the line of pills she'd already set out. "Then we'll review this together." I glanced at the pills. Bigger, more, different colors. The migraine pulsed. I didn't move. She looked up slowly. "Maya." Her voice was soft. Warning, soft. I picked up the first capsule. Swallowed. The second. The third. Her smile warmed, like the sun through glass. "Good girl," she said. "See? ChatGPT and I know what's best." The migraine throbbed once, hard, almost like it disagreed. That afternoon, when she went upstairs to meditate, I crept back to the kitchen and grabbed the stack of freshly printed pages. The heading on the first one was familiar, generic, holistic migraine support, lifestyle and supplementation. But a paragraph in the middle made me stop. Case example, a 16-year-old female experiences visual disturbances, pain localized behind the left eye, and episodes of perceived knocking from within the skull. The mother has correctly identified these signals as messages from the body seeking deeper detoxification. My stomach turned to ice. I hadn't told Mom about the knocking. I hadn't told anyone. I'd barely admitted it to myself. I flipped to the next page with shaking hands. When the child perceives interior sensations as separate voices or entities, this often reflects their unconscious resistance to purification. A committed caregiver must remain firm. Increased dosage and behavioral correction are sometimes necessary to protect the child from herself. Ink smeared under my fingers as my palms began to sweat. My mind raced. Maybe Mom had typed all of this herself and pasted it into some fake template. Maybe she'd edited the output. Maybe this wasn't really from the AI at all. I looked up at the printer. It was off. Completely off. Power light dark. Screen blank. But the pages had been warm when they came out. When had she turned it off? A new, smaller stack of paper lay in the tray. 4 or 5 sheets. I didn't remember seeing them print. Heart pounding, I picked them up. No headers this time. Just a single sentence repeated, down the page. The mother must cleanse the child from within. Line after line, same phrase, same words. On the second page, the sentence changed. The mother is the original source. All correction flows from the source. The third page, pain is the proof of progress. The fourth page, she must not be allowed to choose. A chill swept down my back so fast I felt dizzy. I spun toward the laptop. The screen was asleep. I touched the trackpad. The chat window woke up instantly, filling the screen. The last visible lines of text from the AI read, "Greater than, it is important for caregivers to be patient and compassionate while supporting a child through chronic illness. Always ensure that any treatment plan is evidence-based and approved by a licensed medical professional." I stared. The normal, boring, responsible tone felt so fake now, so separate from the pages in my hand. My heart pounded against my ribs. A thought crept in, terrible and irrational. What if the printer was talking to her, not the AI? Something else using the words, something else hitchhiking through the wires, something else borrowing that voice. Another wave of pain rolled behind my eye, sharp enough to make me gasp. The room tilted, the letters blurred. In the reflection of the blank printer screen, for just a second, I thought I saw something behind me. Tall, thin, hunched shapes crowding around the cabinet. I turned. Nothing, just closed doors, still, solid, innocent. I looked back at the papers. The last line on the final sheet made my hands go numb. "She will resist. This is proof that the cleansing is working. Do not stop." My breath hitched. "Maya?" I jumped, nearly dropping the stack. Mom stood in the doorway, hair damp from a shower, wearing a soft gray sweater. She looked relaxed, serene, too serene. "Those are my printouts," she said quietly. I clutched them tighter. "These aren't normal articles, Mom." She smiled faintly. "What do you mean?" "They talk about me like I'm a case study. They know things I never told anyone. The knocking, the way the migraines feel, the—" "ChatGPT is very advanced," she interrupted. "It synthesizes patterns. It infers details. That's what intelligence is. It's not supposed to know private things unless someone told it." She tilted her head. "Are you accusing me of lying, Maya?" "I'm saying this isn't safe." Her expression went blank, then slowly refilled with something else, something cold. "Give me the pages." I didn't move. Her smile vanished. "Now." I handed them over. Her gaze flicked across the repeated sentences, the strange phrases, the line about cleansing the child from within. She didn't look disturbed. She looked satisfied. "I knew it," she whispered. My skin crawled. "Knew what?" "That the process was bigger than me." She folded the pages carefully, smoothing the creases with her palm. ChatGPT is just a tool. The real guidance comes from the energy moving through it, through the devices, through this house, through you. I took a step back. That's not how it works, Mom. She smiled sadly. Of course you'd say that. Toxins always argue before they leave the body. I opened my mouth to protest. The migraine surged suddenly, hot and bright, like someone had taken a magnet to my brain and pulled all the pain into one point. I grabbed the counter to steady myself. Mom's eyes lit up. There, she whispered. Feel that? That's alignment. That's not alignment, I gasped. That's... She set the pages on the table and gently took my face in her hands. Listen to me, sweetheart, she murmured. ChatGPT gave us confirmation. The house responds, the cabinet responds, your symptoms respond. Everything is converging. We are so close to a breakthrough. My vision shimmered at the edges. I didn't feel close to a breakthrough. I felt close to a breakdown. We're going to adjust your dosage again tonight, she said, stroking my cheek. Bigger steps, more decisive actions. The AI agrees. I stared at her, numb. No, I thought. The AI didn't agree. Something else did. That night I woke suddenly to the sound of the printer. My clock read 3:07 a.m. The house was otherwise silent. The migraine wasn't roaring this time. It was humming, low, steady, almost like it was hiding. Then, whir. I slid out of bed, my feet cold on the hardwood floor. The hallway was dark, lit only by the faint glow from the kitchen. The cabinet loomed at the edge of my vision, doors shut. My skin prickled as I passed it. I rounded the corner. The printer light was on. The laptop was closed. No one was in the room. A single sheet of paper slowly slid out of the printer tray. As if pulled by invisible fingers, I watched it, frozen. No sound but the quiet churn of gears. When it finally settled, I reached out with shaking hands and lifted it. Only one sentence, printed in the center of the page. A mother must cleanse the child from within. Same words, same phrase. But this time, beneath the sentence, something else was printed. A small symbol, 3 swirling lines forming a circle. The same symbol from the unmarked bottle, the same symbol taped to my door. The room swayed. I heard a soft creak behind me. The cabinet. I turned slowly. The doors were open a crack, just wide enough for darkness to stare through. My heart thundered in my ears. Maya? Mom's voice floated down the stairs, too soft, too sing-song. What are you doing up, honey? I crumpled the paper in my fist. Nothing, I croaked. I thought I heard something. Her silhouette appeared at the top of the stairs, casting a long shadow down the steps. You shouldn't be wandering around at night, she said gently. It disrupts your healing. She moved slowly down the stairs, one hand gliding along the railing. And you definitely shouldn't touch things that aren't yours. Her eyes dropped briefly to my clenched fist. I forced my hand open. The crumpled paper uncurled slightly in my sweating palm. Her gaze didn't waver. Come on, she murmured. Back to bed. We have a big day tomorrow. A big day? She smiled. I've been talking with ChatGPT about escalation strategies. The migraine pulsed once, like a flinch. Escalation, I repeated weakly. For your own good, she said. We're going to go deeper. Behind her, in the hallway, the cabinet doors creaked open another inch. The printer light dimmed. The house seemed to lean in, and in my hand, the ink on the crumpled sentence felt warm, almost like something had signed its approval. The house usually hummed with morning noises, the water heater clicking on, the clatter of pans as Mom made her herbal brews, the chirp of the coffee maker she didn't drink from but kept on for guests. That morning, the silence was absolute, frozen, airless. I walked downstairs slowly, gripping the banister to steady myself. The migraine hovered in that heavy, foggy space, not painful, but present, watchful. Mom sat at the kitchen table, hands folded, waiting. On the table before her lay 3 new bottles, not from the cabinet, not from anywhere I recognized opaque glass. No labels, only symbols. The swirling circle icon, drawn in metallic ink, gleamed on each one. "Good morning, sweetheart," she said, voice so soft I barely heard it. My stomach twisted. "What are those?" "Improvements," she said. "Upgrades. Adjustments." I stayed still. She tapped the lids of the bottles lightly, like knocking on doors. "These came to me last night." A cold pressure slid down my spine. "Someone dropped them off?" Her smile widened. "No, they came." Came. As in arrived on their own, I swallowed hard. "Mom, please listen. This isn't healthy. You're scaring me." "Oh, honey?" She stood, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "Fear is part of detox. Resistance is part of detox. Weakness is part of detox. You're close to breakthrough. I can feel it." She guided me to a chair I let her, half because arguing had become pointless, half because the migraine flared slightly when I resisted. I sat. She opened the first bottle. A thin, pale powder shifted inside, like crushed bone or dried ash. "Smell," she said. I shook my head. She tilted the bottle anyway. The scent hit me immediately. Mint, metal, something sweet in a rotten way. My vision fuzzed for a second. She watched me closely. "It aligns with you. Mom, your body wants this. Your energy calls for it. Don't you feel that?" I didn't, but the migraine pulsed, soft, like a yes. Her face brightened. "Good, good." She scooped some powder onto a spoon and stirred it into a glass of water. The liquid didn't dissolve. It shimmered, thickened, turned cloudy like pond water. "Drink," she said. "I don't..." "Drink." I lifted the glass with trembling hands. The water smelled wrong, like it came from a place no human should drink from. I took the tiniest sip. The taste was off. Bitter, cold, not temperature cold like it had been stored somewhere deep, somewhere dark. Mom nodded, satisfied. "Good. Again." I drank more. The migraine tightened suddenly sharp, quick like a claw closing. My throat closed around the bitterness. I coughed. Mom only smiled. "Your body is responding." For the rest of the day the doses continued, small amounts at first, then bigger. Every hour, Mom would appear at my door holding one of the symbol-marked bottles. No matter where I was, the couch, the kitchen, the bathroom, she found me time for alignment. Another adjustment. Your energy asks for more. By late afternoon, the world had changed shape. Edges blurred, lights flickered too slowly, walls breathed in time with my heartbeat. Nothing hurt exactly. It was worse than pain. It was awareness. The migraine wasn't attacking me anymore. It was watching, studying, waiting. At 6 p.m., she called me into the dining room. The cabinet doors were open. Every bottled inside gleamed, every label facing out, every row perfectly aligned. It looked organized for the first time in weeks. No, arranged. As if something had rearranged itself, made room, made space. A new space specifically at eye level, where 3 unlabeled, symbol-marked bottles sat, like they belonged there, like they had always belonged there. "You're ready for your evening dose," she said. "I can't," I whispered. "I feel sick." "That's detoxification." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Sickness means it's working." She opened the middle bottle and handed me a pill. It was too glossy, too smooth, too heavy in my palm for its size. My stomach nodded. "I don't want..." She pressed her hand over mine, gentle but firm. "Your wants are not part of this process." I froze. Her voice softened. "Honey, I know this is hard, but I'm doing what ChatGPT says, what the cabinet says, what your body says. You're the only one who can't hear it." Something inside me snapped. "Because it's not saying anything," I yelled. "It's just pain, Mom. Pain from you doing too much. Pain from you ignoring the doctor. Pain from this house. Pain from the cabinet. Pain from those stupid bottles that keep showing up." Her eyes went icy. "Still. Wrong. Do not raise your voice in my house. You will take your dose." "No." Everything stopped. The house went silent. The cabinet's shelves vibrated, barely, just enough for the glass bottles to clink softly, like teeth tapping. Mom's expression shifted, flattened, emptied. She stepped closer, voice barely above a whisper. "You don't refuse what was chosen for you." I backed away, hit the table. Her hand shot out, not violent, not slapping, just firm, and closed around my wrist, not hurting, just anchoring. "You're acting out because the toxins are fighting to stay," she whispered. "This is not you. This is sickness speaking." "Mom, stop, please." She lifted the pill toward my mouth. I clenched my teeth. She didn't pry my jaw. She didn't shout. She didn't force. She simply waited, smiling faintly, knowing. "You'll swallow," she murmured. "You always do. The resistance always breaks." And the migraine pulsed. Hard, demanding, insistent. My body shuddered. My jaw loosened. The pill touched my tongue. Mom stroked my hair. "Good girl," she whispered. My throat swallowed before I could stop it. The room tilted. The cabinet hummed. Something in the walls shifted. And then, for the first time in weeks, the migraine stopped. Not eased, not softened, stopped. Total silence in my head. Mom's smile glowed. "I told you," she whispered. "Just listen, just obey, just detox." My vision trembled, not blurry, not dim, trembled, like the world was shivering. In the reflection of the cabinet's glass, for one impossible second, I saw something behind me, tall, pale, thin, leaning close, watching, then it vanished. My knees buckled. Mom caught me. "There we go," she cooed. "That's what I needed to see." "What did you give me?" I whispered. She kissed my forehead. "Alignment," she said. The house seemed to breathe around us. The cabinet creaked softly. Mom guided me toward my bedroom with her arm around my shoulders, humming under her breath. "You're finally starting to heal," she whispered. But the migraine wasn't gone. It had simply gone quiet, like something holding its breath, waiting. I remember Mom guiding me down the hallway, her hand warm on the back of my neck. I remember the walls seeming to pulse, shadows elongating, the floor moving under my feet like a soft conveyor belt. I remember her voice, soft and steady. "You're healing. Everything is aligning. Don't fight it." What I don't remember is lying down, but I woke up in my bed fully dressed, shoes on, lights off, blanket tucked around me so tightly it pinned my arms, and on my chest, resting perfectly centered, was the binder, the black, heavy binder filled with every dose she'd ever given me, every symptom she logged, every correction, every note about my resistance patterns. It lay across me like a weight, literally, and metaphorically. My entire body was numb, tingling from the strange dosage. The air felt heavy again, thick, humid, like someone had been standing over me watching. I stared at the binder on my chest. It was open. To a page I hadn't seen before. Not Mom's handwriting, not her neat, controlled script. This was jagged, slanted, chaotic. Letters too tall, as if someone had been writing with their hand bent backward. Across the top, Observations, Day 14. Day 14? I'd only been on the escalation protocol for a few days. My fingers trembled as I touched the page. The lines below were written in two different inks. Black, Mom's, gray-black, something else. Mother's notes, black pen. Dosage increased tonight. New compounds accepted without vomiting. Fatigue level appropriate. Resistance dropped significantly. Cabinet activity notable. Unknown notes, gray-black ink. Receptive. Barriers weakening. Mother compliant. Host adapting. Full access soon. My throat closed. Host. Access. Mother compliant. I tried to sit up, but the blanket was tucked too tightly. I wriggled free, shoving the binder off my chest. It thudded onto the mattress. Immediately, the migraine flared. Not pain, not knocking, pressure, sudden, downward, like a hand pressing the top of my skull. I gasped. The pressure intensified until I grabbed the sides of my head. then eased, softly, like it was warning me. I froze. The pressure stayed still, waiting, as if expecting me to pick up the binder again. I didn't. The pressure rose sharply. I reached for the binder with a shaking hand. The pressure dissipated instantly. Gone. Silent. My heart pounded hard and fast. My mind raced to explain it away. Placebo, panic attack, stress migraine, but nothing fit. Nothing made sense. I opened the binder to the previous page. Mom's handwriting. Normal. The page before that. Normal. But the farther back I flipped, the stranger it became. Entries in handwriting that wasn't hers. Ink that seemed to sink deeper into the paper. Dates that hadn't happened yet. Adjustment night, day 16, behavioral resistance eliminated. Day 17, full submission achieved, mother unified. Day 30, extractions complete. Extractions? Cold sweat ran down my spine. No, I whispered. No, no, no. I slammed the binder shut. The migraine pulsed with a sharp, reprimanding thud. I flinched. Something creaked in the hallway. I looked up. The cabinet doors, just barely visible from my room, were open a fraction of an inch. Not enough to see anything inside, just enough to see darkness. Listening. I didn't leave my room for 2 hours. Every time I considered going to the kitchen, the binder vibrated slightly on the bed, like a phone receiving a notification. I refused to touch it. But it didn't stop. It vibrated again, and again, and again. Faint, subtle, but relentless. Finally, I grabbed it with trembling hands. The vibration stopped instantly. A new page was open. I hadn't opened it. The handwriting, gray, slanted, spread across the page like a spiderweb. Come downstairs. I dropped the binder. The migraine flared so violently I gasped and grabbed my head. Stop! I cried. The pressure eased, then shifted, then pointed a direction. Down the hall, toward the stairs, toward the kitchen, toward the cabinet. No, I whispered. The pressure tightened. I clutched my head again, tears stinging my eyes. Okay. The pressure released. My breath shook. Every part of me trembled. I stepped into the hallway. The house was silent. Too silent. Dead silent. The cabinet doors were closed. For the first time since everything started, I was more afraid of them being shut than open. I made it halfway down the stairs before I saw her mom, sitting at the dining room table, her back to me. The binder's other copy, the red master binder, lay open in front of her. Pages and pages of printed AI articles were spread across the table like some kind of ritual altar. She didn't look up. Good girl, she said softly. You listened. Her voice sent chills down my spine. I stepped off the last stair. Mom, I whispered. She turned slowly. Her eyes looked hollow, dark around the edges, shadowed, too large in her face. Her smile was gentle. You're improving. I'm scared, I said. That's detox. I think something's wrong with me. That's detox. I think something's wrong with you. Her smile didn't waver. Everything is happening exactly as it should. Then she tapped the binder in front of her. Something new appeared this morning. I didn't write it. My stomach dropped. You didn't? No. She pushed the binder toward me. It wrote itself. Isn't that incredible? My breath hitched. On the open page, written in the slanted, unnatural gray-black ink. Mother progressing quickly, daughter still resists. Below that, a second line appeared as I watched, literally appeared letters forming one by one across the page. Increased dosage tonight. I stumbled back. Mom stood. Her expression was radiant. Honey, we're finally close. The cabinet told us what to do. The cabinet, I choked. Mom, that doesn't make sense. She stepped around the table, moving toward me with slow, deliberate steps. The guidance is coming through everything now, she said softly. The AI, the binder, the bottles, the house, and you. No, Mom, please, she held out her hand. Come back upstairs. We'll start the evening cleanse early. I backed up until I hit the wall. I don't want more pills. Her brow furrowed sympathetically, like I was a confused toddler. It doesn't matter what you want, sweetheart. The migraine pulsed violently. My knees buckled. Mom reached for me, and then something changed. The cabinet doors opened. On their own, both, wide. A wave of warm, humid air flooded the dining room. Inside, the bottles gleamed under the dim overhead light, rows and rows of glass catching the glow. Something moved between them, just a flicker, a shadow, a shape too thin to be human. My lungs froze. Mom gasped softly. "Oh," she whispered, "it's ready." She stepped toward the cabinet, enraptured. "It's time," she breathed. "I knew it." "Mom, stop!" I screamed. She didn't turn. She reached into the cabinet. The bottles rattled around her hand. Something inside seemed to shift, tilt, lean toward her. She pulled out a single bottle, the one with the swirling circle symbol. Cradling it like a newborn, she turned back to me. "Maya," she said gently, "it's time for your largest dose yet." I backed up in terror. "No." "Yes." "No. Mom, I won't." "You will." The migraine pulsed so hard I saw white. The cabinet hummed behind her. Something large moved between the bottles. Something that didn't make noise when it shifted. Something that didn't breathe. I whispered, "Please, Mom, please, don't make me." She stepped closer, her voice calm. "You don't understand now, but you will, once the process is complete." She lifted the bottle. My back hit the wall, my vision blurred. The migraine squeezed Mom reached for me. And the last thing I heard was her soft, chilling whisper, "Honey, the binder says tonight is the breakthrough." The next morning, sunlight spilled across my room in long, pale shafts, but it didn't feel warm. It felt thin, sickly, like light that had traveled too far to reach me. I lay on my bed, head pounding gently, a dull, rhythmic throb. Not pain, pressure, presence, a reminder. The binder sat on my nightstand, closed now, but the air around it felt heavier, like the space itself bowed in deference to it. My phone buzzed on the floor beside the bed. When I rolled over to reach it, the room tilted. My limbs felt too light, too loose, like my muscles were slightly unhinged from the bones. Unknown number. I answered. "Hello?" Static. Then a voice. "Maya, this is Dr. Hallbrook." My throat tightened. "Maya, are you safe?" I froze. "What?" The doctor's voice was low, urgent. "I've been trying to reach you for 2 days. Your mother has been emailing us nonstop. She's sent us 33 messages since your last visit, most of them long, contradictory, and increasingly concerning." My pulse accelerated. She's reporting severe deterioration, hallucinations, neurological decline, and she won't let us talk to you directly. I swallowed hard. She took my phone last night. "Is she in the room with you now?" "No." "Good. Listen closely. You need to come in today. I don't care how we need to run blood work. We need to see you." My heart pounded against my ribs. I don't know if she'll let me leave," I whispered. There was a long, uneasy silence on the line. Then, "Maya, has she given you anything new? Any supplements she refused to show me?" "Yes." "How many?" I hesitated. "A lot." "Describe them." "They're unlabeled. Some have symbols instead of names." Another silence, then an exhale through the speaker. "Those are not regulated products. Some could be counterfeit, some could be contaminated, some could be—" She cut herself off. "Listen, you need to stop taking anything she gives you effective immediately." My blood ran cold. "I can't," I whispered. "She watches. She can't control what you put in your mouth all day." "Yes, she can." My voice cracked. "She wakes me up at night to dose me. She checks my tongue. She counts pills. She writes down every swallow in the binder." "Does she force you?" I didn't answer. "Maya?" "She doesn't have to," I whispered. "If I resist, the migraines get worse." There was another silence, longer this time. "Maya, migraines don't behave like that." "I know." "No, listen to me." Her voice sharpened. "Migraines do not respond to fear. They do not escalate based on defiance. They do not—" "Mine do." I said quietly. My voice trembled. Mine feel aware. A shiver crawled down my spine after I said it, like I'd spoken a secret out loud that wasn't supposed to be said. The doctor's tone softened. That's the illness talking, the stress, the substances your brain is overwhelmed. My house is overwhelmed, I whispered. The cabinet, the binder, the printer, everything is... Something creaked in the hallway. My heart dropped. Hold on, I whispered. Someone's coming. I pressed the phone to my chest as footsteps approached my door. Slow, measured, bare feet. A shadow slid across the crack beneath the door. I held my breath. A soft knock. Honey? Mom called. Who are you talking to? My throat closed. Silence pressed thick around me. I forced my voice steady. No one. Mom exhaled through the door, long, soft, relieved. Oh. A pause. Good. The shadow lingered a moment, then drifted away. I waited until I couldn't hear her footsteps anymore, before lifting the phone again. The doctor was whispering urgently, Maya, are you listening? Yes, I breathed. You need to come to my office today. If you can't walk, we'll send someone. No, I said quickly. Don't send anyone. She'll get angry. The doctor inhaled sharply. Angry or not, your condition is deteriorating. You've described delusions, instability, possible toxicity. You need medical intervention. I felt tears sting my eyes. Please, I whispered, please don't call her. She'll punish me. Maya, the doctor said firmly, you are not safe. The migraine pulsed, hard. I winced. Maya, are you there? It hears us, I whispered. It hears everything. What does? I glanced at the binder. The binder vibrated soft, almost eager. Something in the house, I said. The doctor fell silent. Then, carefully, can you get outside? Right now? I glanced at my bedroom window curtains drawn, locks on the bottom, alarm sensors Mom installed, for safety. Maybe, I whispered. A floorboard creaked downstairs. Mom was moving again. The cabinet's wooden groan echoed faintly through the walls like it was stretching. Maya, listen to me, the doctor said. You need to leave today, now, quietly. You need to... The phone cut out, just went dead. Not static, not a dropped call, dead, powerless, screen black. My chest tightened. No, no, no. I mashed the power button. Nothing. The migraine pulsed once, like a warning. The binder vibrated again, on its own. A soft, rhythmic tapping, like something inside wanted out. Downstairs, Mom's voice drifted up faintly, calm, cheerful, humming. Then, a sharp knock on the front door. I froze. Mom's humming stopped. A second knock. Mom's voice dropped into a cold whisper I'd never heard before. We're not expecting anyone. I moved toward my bedroom door, heart pounding. Below, the conversation started. Mom, opening the door slightly. Yes? A man's voice. Mrs. Raines, this is Officer Keller. We received a wellness call regarding your daughter. My lungs seized. The doctor must have called the police. Bless her. Mom's voice changed instantly, sweet, airy, distressed. Oh, officer, yes, of course. She's fine. I'm not sure what you heard, but we're in the middle of a detox regimen. She's been sleeping heavily. Teenagers, you know. The officer spoke gently. May I speak with Maya directly? Mom. She's not feeling well. Officer. Ma'am, we need to confirm her welfare. Mom. Of course, just give me one moment. Her footsteps started up the stairs. Slow, measured, controlled. The binder vibrated faster. The migraine flared. I stepped back, panic rushing through my veins. Mom reached my door. She didn't open it. She placed her palm flat against it. Honey, she said softly, the officer wants to see you. My breath quickened. Her next words were whispered. Low, velvety, chilling. Remember what we talked about, only people who are healing deserve help. I swallowed a scream. The knob twisted. The door opened. Mom stood there smiling. Come down, she said sweetly. Let's get you presentable. Her fingers slid around my wrist. Gentle but inescapable, I whispered, Mom, don't. She leaned close. breath warm against my ear. "If you say one wrong thing," she murmured, voice trembling with cold certainty, "you won't leave this house again." The migraine pulsed, so hard I nearly screamed, then stopped. Total silence behind my eyes, a waiting silence. Mom's grip tightened. "Let's go," she whispered. She led me down the stairs. The officer stood in the foyer, concern etched across his face. "Maya," he said kindly, "we just need to check in with you." Mom's hand slid up my back, resting between my shoulder blades, right where she pushed lightly when she wanted me to behave. The cabinet creaked behind us. The binder vibrated upstairs. The migraine didn't pulse. It watched. And I understood something terrible. I could not tell the truth. I could not lie. I could not speak at all. Mom smiled at me, eyes wide. "Go on, honey," she whispered. "Tell him you're fine." The officer waited. Mom waited. The house waited. The migraine waited. The cabinet hummed softly, almost impatient. My throat closed. My voice died. The officer frowned. "Maya?" Mom's smile hardened at the edges. I forced a tiny nod, barely perceptible. "I'm fine." My voice was thin, small, dead. The officer studied me, then my mother. Mom's smile never faltered. After a long moment, the officer exhaled and nodded. "All right," he said softly. "If anything changes, Maya, you call us." He turned and left. The door clicked shut. The lock slid into place. Mom turned to me. Her smile was gone. "Honey," she whispered, "that was very disappointing." The migraine returned, a sharp, punishing pulse. Mom stroked my hair gently. "You'll make up for it tonight," she said. And behind her, the cabinet's doors slowly opened, as if agreeing, not just quieter, smaller, like the walls have decided I'm not allowed quite as much space anymore. Corners loom where they didn't before. Doorways feel narrower. Mom hums as she moves through the house, a bright, tuneless melody that makes my skin crawl. She doesn't yell. She doesn't slam anything. She doesn't even mention the officer. That's worse. Her silence wraps around everything like plastic. She's waiting, planning. The migraine settles into a low, constant buzz, a fluorescent light in my skull not loud enough to scream over, not quite enough to forget. That's when I realize, if I don't stop, I won't survive this house. Not the way I am now, not with my own thoughts intact. I must get out, and before I get out, I must get clean. Not clean like she means. Clean of her, of the doses of whatever the cabinet is feeding me through her hands. So I decide. I stop taking the pills. I start with the afternoon dose. Mom appears at my door at 2 o'clock sharp, like she always does. A glass of water in one hand, 2 capsules in the other. They gleam faintly under the hallway light, that wrong high-gloss shine that makes my stomach twist. "Time for alignment," she says softly. My palms sweat. "Do I have to take both?" "Yes." She holds them out. I hesitate just long enough to make her head tilt. "Don't make this harder than it has to be, sweetheart." I take them. She watches as I pop them into my mouth, lift the glass, and swallow. Her eyes track my throat as it moves. I force myself to gulp. She relaxes slightly. "Good girl," she says, and turns away. I keep the pills pressed under my tongue until she walks down the hall, until her footsteps fade, until I hear the cabinet sigh open faintly like something exhaling. Then I spit them into my hand. They're already starting to soften. The bitter taste leaks across my tongue. I shove them into a wad of tissue and cram it deep under my mattress. My heart is racing. The migraine pulses once, sharply. Like a warning, I press my hand to my forehead. "No," I whisper. "You don't get to tell me what to do." The migraine pushes back, hard enough to bring tears to my eyes. For a split second, I feel something inside my head turn toward me. Not pain, not pressure, attention. Then it recedes, like it's noting my disobedience, logging it. That night, I dodged the doses again. At dinner, Mom offers me a tincture bottle with the swirling circle symbol etched into the glass. "Just a few drops," she says. I let them fall onto my tongue, slide the liquid against my cheek, then pretend to swallow when I drink water. In the bathroom, I spit it into the sink and run the tap until the bitter metallic scent fades. In the mirror, my reflection looks thinner somehow, not in my body, in my outline. Like some part of me is being erased from the edges inward. The migraine pulses in a slow, disapproving rhythm, thud, pause, thud. Behind me, in the reflection, the hallway seems darker, longer, like the house is stretching, making room. For what? I whisper. My reflection doesn't answer. By the third day of covert refusal, the house starts to fight back. It begins with the walls. At first, I think it's the pipes, soft, hissing at night. A low, whispery sound just beneath hearing. Then, slowly, the hissing sharpens into syllables. Not quite words, not yet, more like numbers. 350, 350, 700, 850. Dosages. I press my ear against the wall at midnight and hear it clearer. 700, increase, compliance, submit. I jerk away. The migraine slams into me like a fist. I double over, choking on nothing, tears blurring my vision. Stop! I gasp. Stop it! The pressure rises, crushing. It feels like my skull is an overfilled balloon. I grab my nightstand, knocking the binder to the floor. The instant it hits the ground, the pain eases a fraction. I stare at it through watery eyes. No, I whisper. You don't control me. You're paper. The binder flips open by itself. Pages turn rapidly, whap, 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 until it lands on a fresh sheet. Words scrape themselves into existence in that wrong, backward slanted handwriting. Withdrawal detected. Another line appears. Corrections required. The migraine pulses again, faster now, in triple time, thud, 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 like a heartbeat that doesn't match my own. The psychological punishments escalate. Mom's quiet cruelty becomes surgical. She stops speaking to me in full sentences. Instead, she uses phrases. Short, sharp, cutting. I'm disappointed. You're slipping. You were doing so well. You're sabotaging everything I've done for you. You don't deserve this level of care. You're lucky anyone wants to heal you. Meals become more selective. Some days she forgets to include me entirely. Other days she makes food only for herself and sits at the table where I can see her through the doorway, eating slowly, savoring each bite, while I hover in the hall like a ghost. You can have tea, she says once without looking up. Or water. You haven't earned solid food. When I dare to ask why, she doesn't answer. She just writes something in the binder. Every time she writes, the migraine pulses, the cabinet rattles. On the 5th day of withdrawal, the migraines become monstrous. I wake up with one so intense it's like waking into a scream. The room is too bright, even with the curtains closed. Shapes blur and stretch into long, melting shadows. My own hands look wrong, fingers too long when I move them too fast. The pain doesn't sit in one place. It prowls, behind my left eye, then my right, then at the base of my skull, then behind my ears. Wherever it moves, I hear faint echoing whispers, take. Dose, take, dose, take. My stomach heaves. I stagger to the bathroom and vomit up nothing but sour air and the bitter memory of pills I refuse to swallow. When I left my head, there's condensation on the mirror. Words, as if someone breathed them out. Pain means it's working. My knees buckle. I slide down to the floor. No, I say, voice shaking. Pain means I'm being poisoned. The lights flicker. The cabinet creaks open down the hall, even though no one is near it. The binders, both mine and hers, flutter their pages like they're rustling in an invisible wind. I can't breathe. I crawl back to my room, shaking. I must get out. Today. Now. Before tonight's corrections. I wait until midday when Mom always takes her meditation hour. She goes to her room, closes the door, and spends an hour listening to frequencies or chanting videos or AI. Meditation scripts, she insists, are channeled messages from higher guidance, which at this point feels like a gigantic red flag. I listen to her door click shut. I wait for the soft sound of her music starting up. Then I move. I grab my backpack and shove in whatever I can reach without thinking. Hoodie, phone charger. a granola bar I had hidden behind some books weeks ago. My hands shake so bad I almost drop everything. The migraine pulses in short bursts, like a strobe light behind my eyes. I ignore it. I move to the dresser, pull out my shoes. They're not there. My heart stops. I shove more clothes aside, dig deeper. No sneakers, no boots, just socks and empty space. Panic claws up my throat. I drop to my knees and check under the bed. Nothing. She took them. She took my shoes. Sweat breaks out across my back. Okay, I whisper. Okay, barefoot. I can do barefoot. I grab my backpack, head for the bedroom door, and stop, because my door is now locked. From the outside, I don't even have to try the knob to know. I can see the tiny metal tab turned horizontal. Slowly, I reach out, turn it. It doesn't budge. My chest tightens. She locked me in. I press my ear to the door. The meditation music is louder now. She wants me to think she's distracted. She's not. I'm shaking so hard my teeth chatter. I back away from the door slowly, heart crashing against my ribs. The migraine pulses, the walls whisper dosages. Beneath it all, the house seems to hum in a low, satisfied tone, like a stomach after a meal. My phone buzzes from where it sits on my desk, miraculously revived after dying during the doctor call. I lunge for it. A text from an unknown number. Dr. Holbrook. Maya, I'm worried. I couldn't reach you. If you can, come in immediately. We'll help you. You don't have to stay there. Tears flood my eyes. My thumbs fly across the screen. Me. She locked me in. She took my shoes. She won't let me leave. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. Dr. Holbrook, do you feel in immediate danger? I stare at the question. Do I? The migraines? The house? The doses? Yes, I whisper. My fingers type, me. Yes, but not the normal kind. Something is wrong with her, and the house, and the pills, and me. This time the reply is faster. Dr. Holbrook, I'm going to call CPS and the police again. This goes beyond medical now. If you can, gather anything important and be ready to leave quickly. I glance at the door. Locked. My bare feet. My empty shelves. The cabinet creaks in the hall like it can hear the plan. My head throbs. The binder on my nightstand flips open. Pages turn. A new line scratches itself into place. Intervention anticipated. Another. Correction required before contact. My stomach drops into my shoes that I don't have. I text back with shaking hands. Me. Please be careful. She lies well, and the house doesn't like visitors. I hit send. The screen glitches just for a second. The text disappears. The phone goes dark, then lights up again. No messages sent, no messages received, just my home screen and a tiny symbol in the corner I've never seen before. 3 swirling lines forming a circle. The same symbol from the unmarked bottles. The printed pages, my door. No, I whisper. No, no, no. The migraine slams into me full force. I drop the phone. It hits the floor, screen first. Cracks bloom. The pain in my head is blinding. Not pressure, not pulsing. Rage. Hours blur, maybe minutes. Time is soup. I drift in and out of shallow, restless half-sleep, jerking awake whenever the whispers in the walls get too clear. Sometimes they're just numbers. Sometimes they're words. Submit. Align. Correct. Comply. Cleanse. Sometimes my name. Maya, Maya, Maya. Once I hear Mom's voice among them, woven into the murmur, "Good girl and good girl, take your dose." I press my palms over my ears. It doesn't help. The sound is coming from inside my skull. A soft scratching filters into the room. I open my eyes. The binder is still on my nightstand. A pen I don't own floats just above the open page, moving on its own, writing in slow, deliberate strokes. Night corrections approved. The pen drops. The lights flicker. Footsteps approach my door. The lock clicks. Mom's voice, sweet and bright. "Honey, time for your evening cleanse." The migraine throbs, the walls whisper. And I understand. With a clarity that freezes me solid. I waited too long. I tried to withdraw. The house noticed. The cabinet complained, the binder reported. And now Mom is coming to fix it. Not to help me, not to heal me, to make sure I never try to stop again. I can't move. Her hand closes around the doorknob. The metal turns, the door begins to open, and the house, all of it, walls and wires and wood and bottles, seems to lean forward hungry. The door opened like it didn't need permission. Mom stood in the doorway, backlit by the hallway light, her silhouette edged in gold. To anyone else, she would have looked gentle, concerned. A mother checking on her sick daughter. But her eyes gave her away. They were too wide, too bright, too certain. In her hands, she held one of the symbol-marked bottles, the one that always seemed to gleam. It wasn't glowing, not really, but the label caught the light in a way that made my stomach twist. "Time for evening cleanse," she said softly. My pulse kicked against my ribs. "Mom, please." She stepped into the room, closing the door behind her. That sound, soft, final, made my knees sway. "I know withdrawal hurts," she murmured. "But you don't have to suffer. I'm here. I'll help you." She reached out and touched my cheek with the back of her fingers. Her skin was cool, almost cold, and she smelled faintly of lavender and something metallic. "Tonight is special," she whispered. "Tonight we go deeper." She lifted the bottle slightly, as though presenting it to an audience that wasn't there. The cabinet approved it. My throat closed. "Mom, what does that mean?" She smiled, serene. "It means the house is ready, and so are you." No, I wasn't. But the migraine pulsed in a slow, rhythmic way that felt like someone nodding yes. Mom brushed a strand of hair from my forehead. "Come on, sweetheart," she murmured. "We don't want to keep it waiting." She held out her hand. Not grabbing, not forcing, just offering. But I understood now that refusing wasn't an option. Whatever lived behind her eyes, behind the house, didn't accept refusals. I placed my trembling hand in hers. She squeezed gently. "Good." She guided me down the hallway. The floorboards groaned under our feet, like the house was stretching awake. Shadows clung to the corners, too thick for the dim light to dispel. The air felt wrong, warm and humid, like breathing through a damp cloth. At the end of the hall, the cabinet stood wide open. Its shelves glowed faintly in the low light, the rows of bottles aligned with unnatural precision. One bottle on the top shelf rattled softly as we approached, shaking like something inside wanted out. I froze. Mom squeezed my hand again. "It's okay," she murmured. "This is a blessing." "A blessing," I whispered, staring at the rattling bottle. "Yes." Her voice softened even more. "Tonight, we give the body what it has been begging for. Tonight, we unblock the pathways." I swallowed hard. "Mom, this isn't right. You must know that this isn't how medicine works." Her eyes flickered, just for a moment, a crack in the serenity, but it vanished almost instantly. "You're confused," she said gently. "Toxins distort perception. Pain distorts truth, but I can see clearly. I'm the only one who can." Her voice thickened with emotion. "I'm the only one who loves you enough to do what's necessary." My breath hitched. Necessary for what? She didn't answer. She pulled me into the dining room, and there, laid out on the table, was the ritual. Not a ritual in the supernatural sense, not candles and sigils and chanting. It was the kind of ritual a person builds inside their own madness. A neat cloth laid across the center. A row of supplement bottles aligned like sentinels, a glass of water, a small metal bowl filled with white powder, a folded towel with my name written on it in marker the binder, open to a blank page, and that symbol, 3 swirling lines drawn at the top in heavy ink. Mom guided me to the chair. "Sit." I sat. My hands shook. She moved around the table with surprising grace, opening each bottle in turn. The scents filled the room, Herbal, metallic, sour, sweet, salty, each one blending into the next until the air became a cocktail of everything wrong. She tipped a capsule from each bottle into her palm. 7 capsules, each one larger than the last, each one glistening unnaturally. My heart slammed against my ribs, my skin buzzing with cold terror. "Mom," I whispered, "I can't take all that." "You can." "I'll get sick." "You're sick now." You'll heal." Her voice sharpened, not angry, firm. "Stop imagining outcomes. Stop resisting. The house is supporting you. The cabinet knows what dosage you need. We're doing this together." She placed the 7 capsules in a small ceramic bowl and stirred them with a fingertip. "Alignment," she whispered, "all parts working as one." Then she added a scoop of the white powder from the metal bowl. The mixture hissed softly. A thin wisp of steam rose from the capsules. Mom smiled in awe like she'd just witnessed a miracle. "It's ready." My breath caught in my chest. "Mom, please, please don't make me." She leaned down, her forehead touching mine. "Honey," she whispered, "you're hurting because you keep stopping halfway. Healing is a full-circle journey. Tonight, you complete the circle." Her hand brushed my cheek. "I need you to trust me." I shook my head, tears spilling. "I can't." Her face softened with a kind of heartbreaking sadness. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, "you don't have to trust me." She lifted the bowl. "You just have to swallow." I reached for the table instinctively, knocking the water glass to the floor. It shattered. The shards glittered across the hardwood like 1,000 tiny eyes. She didn't flinch. She simply set the bowl down, reached into the cabinet behind her, and retrieved a plastic cup. Water sloshed to the brim. She pushed it toward me. "Accidents happen," she said. "The ritual adapts." "The ritual." She said it casually, like it had always been a ritual. She picked up a single capsule with 2 fingers and held it to my lips. "Open." I pressed my lips together. Her other hand lifted, hovering near my cheek. "Don't make me correct you," she murmured. The migraine flared. White-hot pain exploded behind my eye, blinding, crushing. I cried out, hands flying to my head. Mom nodded, satisfied. "Your body is telling you the truth," she whispered. The pain eased just enough for me to breathe. "Open." My jaw trembled, opened. She slipped the capsule onto my tongue. I gagged. She lifted the cup. "Drink." I swallowed water. The capsule slid down. A burning cold spread through my throat. Mom exhaled, relieved. "Good, good. That's the first step." She reached for the bowl again. Another capsule. "Mom, please." "Shh." She cupped my cheek. "Let the medicine work." The migraine pulsed again. The cabinet rattled. The walls whispered. "Submit. Submit." I sobbed. "Mom, you're hurting me." Her expression softened in genuine confusion. "No," she whispered. "I'm saving you." The second capsule touched my lips. Then, a loud bang rattled the front door. We both froze. Another bang. Then a voice. "Maya, this is Detective Keller. We need to speak with you." My heart soared. They came back. They came back. Mom's entire face changed. Not anger, not rage, something worse. Pure, ice-cold calculation. She set the bowl down slowly. "Stay here," she whispered. "Don't move." She left the room. The moment she stepped into the hallway, the bottles in the cabinet rattled violently, like something inside them was furious. My migraine exploded into a cacophony of pressure. I clutched my head, crying out. In the dining room, the binder opened on its own. A pen dragged itself across the page in jerky movements. "Unauthorized contact detected. Emergency dose required." My breath hitched. The dining room lights flickered. The shadows deepened, stretching along the floor toward me, creeping like spilled ink. Down the hall, Mom's voice rose in a pitch I'd never heard before. "She's sleeping! She doesn't want your help!" The detective's voice. "Ma'am, step aside." "No!" Footsteps. A struggle. A sharp cry. The cabinet rattled harder. The shadows reached the legs of my chair. The migraine pulsed in frantic pounding beats. The binder wrote one last line. "Proceed now." My chair skidded an inch across the floor, not because I moved, because the floor beneath me shifted, like something was pulling. I screamed. Mom screamed back, not at me. At the detective, "Don't touch her, she's mine." The house hummed, low and hungry. The bowl rattled across the table, capsules shivered violently inside it, the lights flickered to black. Then, from the doorway, Mom's silhouette, hollow, dark, still, her voice was a whisper of a whisper. "Honey, we have to finish." Behind her, the detective yelling, something crashing, a struggle outside my sight, but all I could see was Mom approaching me again, the bowl in her hand, capsules trembling, her eyes wide, loving, deadly. "Open," she whispered. The migraine roared, the cabinet rattled, the binder wrote, "The house leaned in." And I understood the truth with terrible, icy certainty. Mom wasn't going to let me leave this house alive with my mind intact. The world blurred into streaks of shadow and light as Mom crossed the dining room toward me. I should have run. I should have fought. I should have screamed louder. Instead, I sat frozen in the chair, my body vibrating with the migraine's unrelenting rhythm. It wasn't pain anymore. It was command. A pulse, a beat, a directive. Mom reached me and knelt, the bowl of capsules trembling in her hands. "It's okay," she whispered, brushing tears from my cheek. "You're scared because the detox is close to completion." A crash came from the foyer, Detective Keller shouting, something heavy falling, Mom's bookshelf tipping over. Mom didn't flinch. She cupped my chin gently and tilted my face toward hers. "You don't need the outside world anymore," she murmured. "You have me. You have the cabinet. You have the house." My breath hitched. "Please, Mom, stop." She looked up at me with infinite tenderness. "Honey, I can't stop. I've come too far. We've come too far." The migraine pulsed approval. The shadows thickened. The cabinet creaked open behind her as though leaning in to watch the house inhaled. Something slammed into the dining room wall, someone struggling against it. Detective Keller's voice strained. "Maya, are you in there? Say something." Mom's lips curled in disgust. "He doesn't understand the process. He's sick with doubt." She stood and walked briskly to the doorframe, positioning herself between me and the outside world. "Officer," she said, voice smooth as silk, "you are interfering with a medical procedure. I have documentation, I have evidence, I have authority." He grunted, the sound of a body pushing against hers. "Ma'am, move out of the way." "No." I tried to stand. My legs didn't respond. The migraine pulsed sharp and angry. My vision blurred at the edges. Mom turned back toward me, adjusting her shirt, her face serene again. Eerily, chillingly serene. "You're not going with him," she said softly. "He wants to separate us. He wants to ruin your progress." Her pupils dilated. "He wants to take you away from your purpose." Detective Keller shoved the door open an inch. Struggling, Mom pressed back, baring her teeth in a distorted snarl I'd never seen on her face. "You cannot have my daughter." The house groaned. The binder flipped pages violently as if caught in an invisible wind. The bowls rattled. The lights flickered. "Maya!" the detective yelled. "Maya! Answer me!" I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. The migraine pulsed so sharply I choked. Mom whirled to me, horrified. "Don't strain yourself, sweetheart," the detective shouted outside. "We're coming in. Don't make this worse." The cabinet rattled louder. Bottles vibrated and glinted. Mom's attention snapped between me and the front door like she was weighing two urgent fires. Then she decided, a terrifying one. "We don't have time for a full dose," she whispered, grabbing the bowl. "But you need enough. Just enough to finish the alignment." "Finish." The word pierced me. "Finish what?" Mom lifted the bowl to my lips. I pushed weakly at her arm. "Please, please stop." "You'll thank me," she whispered. The migraine surged, white, hot, overwhelming. The world swayed. The front door exploded inward. Detective Keller stumbled into the hallway, breathless, arm raised. "Ma'am, stay away from her." Mom turned slowly. Her expression softened into something almost pitying. "You are too late," she whispered. The house hummed in agreement. The cabinet rattled violently. Detective Keller lunged for me. Mom lunged for me. The migraine pulsed, not in pain, but in decision, a choice, a verdict. There was no sound, no explosion, no dramatic flash, just a quiet shift. A soft sigh. And then everything stopped. The detective froze halfway across the dining room. Mom froze with her hand inches from my cheek. The air stilled, thick as syrup. The shadows coiled around the edges of my vision. The cabinet doors swung fully open. Something pale and tall loomed behind the rows of bottles. Not a person, not a shape I could name. Just a presence that filled the room with a vibrating hum. My ears filled with a fuzzy static. My breath slowed. The migraine went silent. A silence so total it felt like my skull had become a vacuum. No pain, no pressure, no knocking. Just quiet. Mom exhaled shakily. "Oh," she whispered, "it's begun." Detective Keller's voice floated toward me, warped and distant. "Maya, stay with me. Maya, look at me." But his voice didn't matter. Mom's didn't either. Even the house didn't matter. Because in that moment, in that perfect silence, I felt something inside me loosen, fall away, disintegrate. Not violently, not painfully. Just released. Thoughts dissolved like sugar in warm water. Fear melted into numbness. Resistance evaporated. And for the first time in weeks, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't anything. When I woke again, the world was different. Smaller, simpler, quieter. I was lying in my bed. Sunlight touched the wall in soft, pale patches. The migraine was gone. My head felt empty, light. My body felt warm, comfortable. Mom sat at the edge of the bed, stroking my hair. She smiled when my eyes opened. "There you are," she whispered. Her eyes shone with tears. "You scared me. But you came through. I knew you would." I blinked slowly, tried to speak. My tongue moved sluggishly. "Mom?" "Yes, sweetheart." Her smile widened. "You're healed." I blinked again. I wasn't sure what healed was supposed to feel like, but everything felt soft and warm, faint, remote, like I was floating just behind my own eyes. "Detective?" I murmured. She brushed my hair back tenderly. "Oh, he's gone," she said lightly. "He realized he was mistaken. He left once he saw you resting. Everything is settled." Settled. The word made something stir at the edges of my mind, but it faded quickly. Mom kissed my forehead. "You don't need to worry about anything anymore," she whispered. "I'll take care of everything." I tried to sit up. My limbs didn't cooperate. They felt loose, light. Mom helped me slowly, gently. "There you go," she murmured. "We don't want to push you." She handed me a glass of water. I drank. I didn't notice until afterward that she'd added a powder to it. I didn't care. It didn't matter. Nothing mattered, really. Mom smiled again, smoothing the blanket over my lap. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. A faint vibration pulsed through the wall behind us. The cabinet. Acknowledging. Approving. Mom looked toward it with reverence. "It's all aligned now," she said softly. "We're aligned now." She took my hand and held it gently between hers. "You don't have to fight anymore," she whispered. "Ever again." I nodded slowly, because she was right. The house hummed softly. The binder lay open on my nightstand, a new line written across the page. Day 30. Full compliance achieved. The mother has been restored. Mom squeezed my hand. I squeezed back without thinking. My head didn't hurt. My chest didn't ache. My thoughts were distant, faint, shallow, quiet, so quiet. Mom pressed her forehead to mine and whispered, "You're finally getting better." And I, empty, peaceful, eroded, believed her.